Okay, we are back. Now I'm going to explain about the features and edges. Well, to my best at least. I haven't read all the edges and features, so if I make a mistake, you can let me know in the comments, or if I miss anything, let me know. Okay, let's see, where is it? Okay, well, let me explain about edges first. Actually, no, let me explain about features. So, features is related to your classes, and at level 1, your character can only have 5 features in total. One of them is free. That free one is actually a training feature. And I think there's only 4 training features, but let me go to that page real quick. Okay, yeah, these are the ones. Okay, so as you can see, there's agility training, focus training, brutal training, and inspire training. Now you can only pick one at level 1, and you can pick any one that you want. You don't even need to meet the prerequisites because it is free. But this is what I want to point out. Some features, they have labels on them, and specifically these training features have 2 labels. One is for training and one is for order. You may only label it as one or the other. You cannot have both. So at level 1, your character needs to learn one of these trainings, and you can only label it as training and not order. You can also take the other training features later on as you level up, and you can label that as training or orders. Orders are used in combat, whereas training is out of combat. Whenever I tell my players that, oh, you have time to do this and that before it gets to night time or to the next day. Would you like to do something? And some of them may want to train, and so they would apply the training, let me know, and then apply these bonuses to their Pokemons. Now, you can only apply training once, at least, yeah, once a day. That's how I put it to my players, because it's considered an extended action, meaning that in the game time, we would imagine that your character has spent at least 1 hour training their Pokemons. And during that training, the players can teach their Pokemon edges. Yeah, Pokemon do have edges, but not as much as the players do. And they can also apply experience points to their Pokemons. Now, if this training feature is used as an order in a battle, then those stat boosts or those effects would only be applied temporarily. They would be gone after the battle. So the other 4 features are supposed to be the first class feature of each of the 4 classes, but since my players only have 2 classes, I just have them pick 2 features from each of their classes. You don't necessarily have to pick a feature, that's within your class. There's other features that players can take as long as they meet the prerequisites. The only exception to taking a feature that you don't need to meet your prerequisites is the first one in your classes. So let's go to one of the classes. Let me go back to the table of contents real quick just to pick a class. Okay, so let's just say Chronicler. So the thing I was mentioning is the feature that you can take without meeting the prerequisites is the one that is written in this box. You don't need to meet it, so you can take it as one of your features at level 1. However, let's say my player wants to have their second feature be the next feature in their same class. This one, they would have to have the Chronicler class already, which they do, so they are able to take it. Actually, that wasn't a good example, but let's move on to the other one. Let's say that my player wants to learn Archive Tutor. So, learn Archive Tutor. The prerequisite is Technique Archive and Expert Perception. Now, they already met the first part, Technique Archive. If they pick that one at level 1, when they take the Chronicler class, they would just need to make sure that they get an Expert Perception in the feature that they want to learn. But it also relies on the level up too. There's a certain level that your player needs to reach in order to, be able to increase your skills. So yeah, once you got your 5 features, you're done there. Now let's move on to the edges. Let's see, where's that edges tab? Okay, these are the edges. You may only start with 4 edges normally at level 1. The only exception is, this is where it gets complicated. The only exception is if you have a class that allows you to get an extra skill or feature. This is where reading very closely to your classes matter. Now, if you guys want me to go over each class in this specific handbook, then I could try my best to, because there's a lot of classes. So if you want that, then leave it in the comments. So for the 4 edges, I recommend my players to just take the basic skill edges, meaning that when you take a basic skill edge, you can rank up your skill from a low rank to a higher rank. Remember from the last video I said that at level 1 your character needs to have 3 pathetic skills, 1 adept, and 1 novice. Now, let me just go over to Roll20 to show you the rankings. Actually, no. Let me find that one. Okay, yeah, this is the table. So on page 33, this is a table that you should rely on at all times. I recommend just copy and pasting or writing it somewhere just so you can refer to it every time you level up. But it ranks from 1 to 6. 1 being pathetic, 6 to master. The rank of your skills determine your dice roll. If you have a higher dice roll, you have a better chance of getting a better outcome. If you have a low and try to do a skill check, then it's very hard to meet that skill check. So now let's go to the Roll20 and I'll give you the example of a player's character. Okay, so this is a character sheet that a player that used to be in my campaign but is no longer playing. So let's go to his skills. So as you can see, he put acrobatics to rank 1, pathetic, stealth, and medicine education. So those are his 3 skills that he ranked down to pathetic. So that just tells us that his character does not know a lot about medicine, like the herbs to make medicines or berries, what each berry, what type of effects each berry does. He's not stealthy, he's not really good at hiding. For acrobatics, he cannot jump too well or do other extracurricular activities. Now, for the novice, I know novice is rank 3. I know there's a bunch of rank 3s here right now, but let me go up and see what the skill he actually picked was for novice. Okay, so he selected combat to be his novice skill. So that means he's fairly good at combat. And then the skill that he put for adept is guile. So there you have it. He has 1 in adept, 1 novice, and 3 pathetic. Now those pathetic ranks do not need to stay pathetic. They can be ranked up too with a basic skill. But I believe you cannot rank them up at level 1 just because you downgraded them at level 1 too, so it doesn't really make sense to, level it up again while you're still level 1. You can do that the next time you level up. As you can see, these skill edges have prerequisites too. And like if you want to increase one of your skills that is at a novice rank, meaning rank 3, to an adept rank, which is rank 4, your character will have to be level 2. I also want to note that as you level up, for every odd level, you can take another feature as long as you meet the prerequisites. For every even level, you may take an edge. The only exception is, again, if your class says that you may learn a feature and an edge on a level that you normally don't learn a feature or an edge. Let's go over to the trainer progression chart real quick because I want to talk about that a bit. Okay, so this is really confusing when you take the first look at it, but don't worry. I'm going to dissect this as good as possible, and hopefully you will still understand it. If not, then I can explain it further in the comments or make another video of it. Who knows? So you should really refer page 19 and 20 to 21 together, just because, you know, this page says one thing and then when you look at the progression chart it shows another thing, so it can get really confusing. So yeah, just also every time your character levels up you gain 1 stat point and you can put it wherever you would like. These two words, base relations, is basically for Pokemons at least, you cannot have a current stat point be the same as another stat. All the stats in the current section, like this section, the current where you cannot change it, they have to be different in Pokemons. I'm going to explain that further when we talk about creating a Pokemon sheet, but for now I'm just gonna say that for players you don't have to follow the base relations, so you can spend the points wherever you want. And just as I mentioned, at every odd level you get a feature, and every even level you can edge. Okay, so let's say that your character is now level 2. Here are what your character is qualified to have now. You're qualified to rank up your skills, your novice skills to adept now. And then you also gain 1 edge for which you qualify. You have to make sure that you meet the prerequisites. And this is the most important part. Even though your character can rank up a novice skill to adept, you may not do it at level 2. You can do it on a different level, like when you're level 4, but you cannot do it when you're level 2. Oh, yeah. And so on this one, when you reach level 5, it gives you 2 options. You can either, on every even numbered level up, from level 6 to level 10, you may gain 1 stat point, so meaning that at level 6, 8, and 10, you have 3 stats points. but you might spend it on either attack or special attack on your character. You also gain +2 stat points for level 2 and level 4. And the other option is to just gain 1 general feature for which you qualify. So I believe, let's see. Yeah, so that would be the first bonus there. Okay, so when you get to level 6, I know the one I just talked about is kind of confusing. I was trying to figure it out myself. If I manage to understand that part better, then I'll mention it at the beginning of the next video. We'll see. Now, when your character gets to level 6, you gain these bonuses below. You're able to level up your skills that were adept to expert. You can also choose 1 skill edge, as usual. And just like with the level 2, at level 6 you cannot rank up your skills to adept. You can rank it up when you're at the next even level. And then there's no bonuses gained at level 8. When you get to level 10, there's 1 bonus that you need to pick. So it's just like what it says in level 5. From every even number level up from 12 to 20, you can gain 1 stat point. So 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So you get 5, and you can distribute that in attack or special attack only. The other thing is you can gain 2 edges instead of 1. So in case you think that your player needs to learn more edges, then you can pick that bonus. And then for 12, it's the same. You can rank up your skills to master, and then you can pick 1 skill edge, but you cannot rank the skill to master at level 12. And then so on from level 20, 30, and 40, it's the same applies. It just repeats itself, but for different levels. Okay. Now let's try to understand this progression chart. For this chart, you need to refer to this every time your character levels up. So like after each session, you should right away refer to this chart, because it will help you keep track of how many features, how many edges, and how many total stats your character should have. The thing it does not show is the other bonus features and edges that your character can take if your class allows more edges and features. So that one, you have to make a note of that somewhere. I know that your game master could take notes about it and remember, but I think it's just good practice to make a note of it yourself, because it is your character, so it is your responsibility to make sure that you're prepared for the next session, because there's already a lot of workload on your game master, and you don't really want to give them more responsibility than what they already have. So that's pretty much it for the edges and features. Let's go over to the character sheet again, just so I can give examples of what my player had for the edges and features. Okay, so his free training feature is agility training. He likes to train his Pokemons with speed. And his first class is Trickster class, and the second class is Enduring Soul. I forgot to mention, but in my campaign, I let my players pick the first class, and then I would assign them the second class. Just because it ties to, I guess, the lore that I'm going with in my campaign. So anyways, he copy and pasted the descriptions and all that to the classes. And then the other classes, the stack deck is the other feature from Trickster. And as you can see, he followed the prerequisites. He needed the class Trickster and then also the Guile skill to be Adept, which he had when he picked this one to be his Adept rank skill at level 1. And then for staying power, he just needed the class Enduring Soul to take this feature, so he's all good. And then for the edges, he has the basic skill. He took all basic skills for the 4 edges, and he leveled up General Education, Charm, Focus, and Command. I just have them write it like this, just so that it mostly helps me remember at what level they took their edges at. Because in case someone doesn't remember how many edges and features they have, or when did they learn it, this would be helpful for the future if we ever go back to it. So I do have a player that does have more features and edges. Actually 2. So I'm gonna pull that up just to show like the difference and how complicated it can be. So I believe it's Miles. Okay, so his class, the class that he picked that allows him to get more than one feature or edges is the Hobbyist. Let's just go back to the handbook and read about and see what the Hobbyist does. Okay, Hobbyists, they can literally learn a lot of edges and features that do not apply to, you know, what they're really an expert in. They can do anything that they want more than other classes, in my opinion. So for the Hobbyist class, you can pick 3 extra skills that you have to qualify. That part is what you need to focus on. So at level 1, he picked his 4 edges, and then he picked another 3, which is combat, survival, and command. So those are all good. And he even labeled them to remind himself that he took those at level 1. Now, the other feature from the hobbyist class. Dilettante. If I'm saying it correctly, I'm probably butchering it, but you know. This can be learned. This feature can be taken 4 times because it has the rank label. So like for each rank of this feature, you can gain both an edge and a general feature from this list at least. So it's not like you can learn every feature and edge. You're limited to what's in here, in this box right here that I'm highlighting. So what did he pick? He picked, I believe, let's see. For the edges, he picked martial arts. Basic martial arts. And for the feature, I think he forgot to take a general feature because I only see 5 level 1s. So yeah, he was supposed to take another feature here, but anyways, he would have taken another feature and another edge. So that's really good for him in case his character likes to rely on a lot of features and edges more. And he did it for level 5. He took Dilettante rank 2 again. And he picked an edge and a general features. The general feature he picked was Skill Monkey. And the other one was, the edge was Instruction. So now let's look at Fen. So he took Researcher class as one of his classes. Now let's go to Researcher because Researcher it has so many options that there's a lot to pick from. There's so many researchers that your character can take when they take the researcher class. Okay, so yeah, he took the researcher class and he's able to choose one feature from a chosen researcher field for which he qualifies. Oh, but there's only... Oh, but he needs to take that because he needs to choose 2 researcher fields. Yeah, so this is where he gets more than 5 features at the start at level 1 because this class allows him to choose 2 researcher field studies. So he picked general research field and apothecary. Yeah, apothecary research field. That's his first 2 fields of studies at level 1. And so he's able to pick one feature that he meets. So he picked breath of knowledge and he picked apothecary. So he started with, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7 features in total at first, I believe. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, no. He starts with 6. This archival training is from the Chronicler, which I just told him to put it in a separate tab. And he has 4 edges that he started with. But with the breath of knowledge that he took at level 1, he's able to gain 3 more skill edges. So he started with 7 skill edges and 6 features. So you can understand how complicated it could be if you pick a class that gives you more edges and features. But again, since it's so complicated, if you guys want me to explain each class better, then feel free to leave it in the comments. But I think that's all about the edges and features. If I missed anything, you can let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll catch you later. Bye.